This might actually be very short, or maybe just as long as the rest of my crap, but we'll see. Okay. Underworld Ascendant is a pretty interesting thing, just in general. Partially because we don't really get that many immersive sims at all, games that aren't Dishonored 1 and 2, or the last two Deus Ex games, or like Prey by Arcane's Prey. There's hardly any games like that to begin with. There are some indies. There's basically no AA. There are some indies that do that, and Underworld Ascendant was supposed to be basically like a AA type of game. Comes from allegedly reputable developers, right, who worked on like literally everything immersive sim ever, and then we got such a failure. One of the channels that I follow, and I hardly follow any channels on YouTube. I follow about a dozen, maybe even, I don't know, 15-ish. Potentially, there could even be 20 channels on YouTube. And I believe pretty much all of them are Japanese channels from my days of Japanese immersion. But it's too painful to immerse with the with Japanese YouTube content. It was easy to just throw something on the background while you do it, but as I grew up, I realized that might as well be a podcast. There's no need for that type of literal cancer. And second, if I were to actually focus on immersing through content like that, why would I ever do that? There's a billion better ways of getting content for immersion, right? But also there's specifically YouTube. I do like a few YouTube channels, a few Japanese kind of vlogging essentially channels. Absolutely, I do like them. I do like people behind them. I think they're extremely likable people, and or funny, and or interesting. However, the Japanese style of editing has this, for some reason, dictates that everyone who makes a YouTube video for the Japanese market has this stupid background music that's from DIY videos. The dum 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 dum, that fucking song. Well, imagine 300 million variations of the same crap, and the genre of music I'm talking about. So every single Japanese stream on either Kick or Twitch, okay, not every single one, but 98 out of 100, have that background stuff, and every single YouTube video has that stuff. I don't understand that at all. Honestly, if someone wants to play music, if music is not actually part of the thing that you're doing, it's part of your editing, it's part of whatever it is, that's happening on the screen, there is no reason to have music, because everyone has the Spotify app open on their computer 24/7. Same thing on their phone. I see people literally never closing it, in fact, because why would they? And yeah, there's no reason to have music. People can have their own music, especially if your music is some stock royalty-free crap. Why do you want your viewers, even if you're making slop for the masses, why do you make them why do you force them to listen to that stuff? I don't understand. What's the point? You think they wouldn't watch you if they didn't have music playing? They have to pause their own music every time they open your video. In fact, even if half of your audience doesn't actually do that, they don't listen to Spotify, radios 24/7, even if they don't do that, well, the other half does it. So you might as well don't do it, So it's just so annoying. I just cannot do it. Every time I see an interesting video you know, from either like Ochanaru or oh god damn it, who else do I follow? Actually, I forgot what their channels names are. It's pretty much always something Chanaru, but okay, doesn't matter. One girl's name I don't even remember, because I hardly even watch their content. I just cannot anymore, you know. I cannot watch a 25-minute long video that's actually pretty interesting vlog of like someone, you know, traveling Japan or building something interesting, like rebuilding a car or rebuilding a lived-in van, an RV essentially, you know. And if you know anything about that, like sphere, you know, of enthusiasts, like there are crazy things that you can do, you know, with a van, let alone with a proper RV. There are so many things that need to be done to every single RV, unless you're buying like a giant tour bus for like $5 million. If you buy an RV, even an expensive one, it's gonna be shit. Like you're gonna need to install all kinds of shit yourself there, you know, in order for that thing to actually be livable. If it's used even remotely, you are screwed. You're done. Everything in that thing is just gonna be trash. It's gonna be like an old hotel room that was never cleaned, first of all, and also it's like 30 years old and nothing was ever swapped there, you know, nothing was ever renewed. Oh yeah, and I just cannot watch some of those videos. Most of those videos, even like really long semi-documentary videos by all of those people, I just cannot watch them because I cannot listen to literally that like 30-second DIY music loop that's on constant repeat the entire time. I don't understand how Japanese people don't hear it. It's like the whole thing with, you know, I'm gonna get banned for it, but you know, the stereotype that does exist for a reason, but it's actually not even that racial. I've seen people have that shit on the background of their videos or their podcasts since forever ago, honestly, and has nothing to do, in my experience. What's happened? Oh, it's just a goddamn... Okay. Yeah, it has nothing to do with racial thing or nothing. Yeah, but people legitimately, for some reason, completely tune out the sound of the fire alarm reminding you when the battery is dead, right? Or dying. People completely tune that noise out. And they just live with it. You know, every 20 or 30 seconds or something, their fire alarm chirps. The stereotype is that it's mostly black people. Actually, the stereotype is that it's only black people. Dude, I had those chirping fire alarms everywhere I went, ever, in life. And I've been to places where there are pretty much no black people, like Asia, for example, or Russia. You know, those chirping fire alarms, you get them everywhere. And Japanese people, for some reason, they actively add that stupid DIY music to everything they do. That literally doesn't stop and never changes, even if it's a 40-minute long video. It's a 30-second loop for a 40-minute long video, and it never changes, and it never stops. They just, you know, drag the whole thing, they stretch it, they stretch the region across the entire video, and it never occurs to them that maybe this is a bit of an overkill. Nope. Never happens. Never happens. I need to stop. Covered in the sticky things. No ticks though this summer. Literally 0 ticks this summer. A little bit in the spring, and ever since then, nope. Not a single one. Interesting. Yeah, I know. To you too. Yeah, so I just cannot. Of course, I am very sensitive to music, you know. It's very difficult for me to tune out music. In fact, it's like super distracting. I sometimes, like, when I listen to some grifter, talking about, like, I don't know, why Halo Infinite sucks or something like that, and they have music from the, like, first 3 Halo games playing on the background, I sometimes tune out. I honestly, not tune out, what's the, god damn it, I space out. And I realized that I wasn't even listening to the guy for the last 3.5 minutes, because my brain just completely, I switched the layer, switched the audio track. I was listening to music instead of, the voice. So I hardly watch YouTube, like, period. There are a few YouTubers I kind of click on sometimes, like, generally when a game comes out and I want to know if it even runs at all, right? I would watch, like, Worth a Buy, if he even bothers reviewing it, because there's 2 million games on Steam he needs to get to reviewing, so whenever something actually interesting comes out, maybe he'll get around to play it in, I don't know, a month or 2. So I watch Worth a Buy occasionally. Grift-wise, I used to watch 21 Kiloton periodically, but he's not, he is relatively big, but he's not a, like, full-time YouTuber. First of all, some of his videos were absolutely hilarious, but ever since he... Strangely enough, ever since he publicly declared in one of his videos that he's a fan of Synthetic Man, his videos just become so one note, like, just so schizo-y. Like, he barely even talks about, like, he basically used to be primarily anti-corporate, and the way he was anti-woking was mostly through kind of like calling out the corporate culture for using woke as a shield and using woke as like a really flawed marketing strategy. Ever since that video he done like about a year ago or something, where he basically says, oh guys, this new channel that I discovered on YouTube, it's like the best channel ever. Have you ever guys heard of Synthetic Man? His points on everything are like 100% correct. And I don't remember, they were specifically talking about some one game. It might have been Dragon Woke, Inquisition or whatever, Dragon Veil, Guard Veil, something like that. I don't remember. I've only played the first Dragon Age game. Veil Guard, is that the thing? Like, Veil is something that was not invented for that game. It existed prior in the universe. But guys, like over 15 years ago, I played Dragon Age 1. I don't remember if it's in it. I don't remember anything about Dragon Age 1. All thing I remember from Dragon Age 1 is the opening as a dwarf, because that's how I played the game. That's it. I don't remember anything else. I'm sorry. I think I even have it on PC, and I heard the PC version is like so much different from the console version that PC version doesn't even support. It doesn't even support controller, because it controls more like classic, like Baldur's Gate, like Infinity engine, like Bioware RPGs essentially. So there's like there's no room for controller support. In fact, even. Yeah, I never played it. I don't know. So it might have been that game when 21 Kiloton, just like decided, oh, okay, Synthetic Man, my favorite channel. And like, Synthetic Man does make good points occasionally, but if you watch him for longer than, I would say, 10 videos, and I have done that, yes, I would say I've watched probably every single video of his for, maybe the first couple of years of his channel. Definitely Cyberpunk. Yeah, I was still following kind of him. I might even been subscribed to him at one point. Yeah, but ever since he stopped being a YouTuber and he became a streamer, you know, making like one YouTube video a month for someone, you know, this is your job, and you can only, you know, squeeze one video a month out of yourself because the rest you're just grifting, you know, for donos on stream. Not super interested. And what he plays on stream, he plays that like Dragon Ball game, that like free-to-play slop, or maybe not even free-to-play. I think it's probably free-to-play. But yeah, he might as well play like Path of Exile, essentially. So he doesn't even play like real video games that he likes because he doesn't like video games. He claims to like 5th gen and 6th gen video games, and that's true. Maybe he did like video games when he was growing up. Maybe he did like some PS2 and PS1 games, but he definitely does not enjoy video games now because he doesn't even play them. He plays like this slop, free-to-play slop, Dragon Ball game, and it's not even a good slop to play. You know, if you want to play slop for streaming, well, you have Destiny, you have Path of Exile, you have Warframe. You know, if you claim to actually enjoy video games, like, you could just, you know, play something that you actually enjoy. Because like those slop games don't really get big numbers anyway. People who watch like big quote-unquote Warframe streamers, you know, they I need to close the door. I don't think I closed the gate. I mean, Aini, come here. You know, they don't watch those people because they stream Warframe, because nobody actually watches Warframe or plays Warframe anymore. You know, it's just it's an excuse, you know, to go online. It's an excuse to just, you know, like waste your time somewhat on stream. Yeah, like, you want to play an obscure PlayStation 1 game instead, you might as well do that. If you're gonna play slop that no one watches or plays anyway, you might as well just play something obscure, honestly. Just like stream in the like retro games category or something like that. But nope. All he can think of is is that Dragon Slop game, which is just so funny. You're supposedly this like super sophisticated, like hardcore OG gamer, and that's how you spend and that's what you play. And okay, so that's just like okay, dude, so fucking OG of you. But that's not even the biggest thing. Honestly, the biggest thing is that the dude haven't even played like half the game on PS2 that are worth playing. Like, he never played like any of the Devil May Cry games, I believe, at one point. He confessed. And dude, that's just fucking cringe. And he actually believes that games like God of War and Darksiders have basically the same combat system that's like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry. He assumes. I assume, because he never played those games anyway. Not sure about Bayonetta. But like, dude, if you think Bayonetta has the same combat system as Darksiders, you have literally missed the entire point of gaming. Like, the entire gaming just whooshed right over your head. You missed it. Sorry, dude. You know? So yeah, going to people like that for your opinions is just pathetic. I'm sorry, 21. And yeah, and 21, like, ever since that, 21 was just obsessed. For a couple of videos. He hasn't really done that many videos ever since he said that. But ever since that video, 21 was just obsessed with just like repeating, echoing back the anti-woke grift opinions, rather than what he used to be making, which was just hilarious, like anti-corporate culture stand-ups, essentially. Now he's offering like pseudo-comedic grift commentary, commentary, you know. Yeah, so yeah, okay, so 20 minutes, pretty good. The reason I wanted to make this transmission, it's the topic is so boring. I don't even want to talk about it. That's why I decided to bitch about YouTubers instead. That's infinitely more interesting than what I actually kind of wanted to talk about. So one of the few channels that I follow, and I actually respect the hell out of that guy. He comes across as genuinely intelligent, dare I say educated person. And his taste in video games is usually very intriguing. It's mostly immersive sims. I'm of course talking about one of the channels you can probably see in my subscriptions, Looking Glass. Obviously, someone who very clearly signals what he's all about. I don't even know the guy's name. Not sure if he ever dropped it anywhere. But yeah, Looking Glass is absolutely the guy whose opinion on things I kind of trust and honestly do appreciate. In fact, if you he covers way more than just immersive sims. I think he talked about Far Cry games a couple times on his channel. He has huge video like on Cyberpunk. Well, Cyberpunk was supposed to be a semi-immersive sim, so understandably. He talked about Halo Infinite when that game came out. Obviously, like Redfall is not an immersive sim, but understandably why he talked about that. So yeah, if he ever covered any of the games you're interested in, I strongly recommend you actually watch his stuff and listen to what he has to say, because you can actually hear someone's unfiltered, maybe not always particularly fantastically articulated, but someone's honest, non-grift, non-agendaed thoughts on, what we have, what were we supposed to have, what we were promised. And yeah, one of the games he covered pretty early on his channel was Ultima Underworld. Underworld Ascendant. That's technically a spiritual successor to Ultima Underworld. Not actual Ultima Underworld 3, by the way, because that game, Ultima Underworld 3, is Arx Fatalis by Arcane. In fact, I believe it was their first game. And Underworld Ascendant, so Ultima Underworld 4 at best, essentially, at that point. But honestly, I don't even know what that game is for. So Looking Glass ended up making quite a big defense for it, quite a big defense case for Underworld Ascendant, especially in his last video on Underworld Ascendant, I believe, which was after update 4, which was the last update, the last patch for the game. And I just assumed, well, basically what the cope of my boy Looking Glass was that the game is actually the game is pretty good now. They pretty much fixed like 99% of what they needed to fix in order for this to be a proper game now. And I thought, oh, okay, cool. So community will still hate, the community will never revisit the game to change their opinions. But it's nice to see that we have like this one more immersive sim, for me to check out at one point later in my life. And that time has come finally. Now, and I have played about 2 hours of Underworld Ascendant, and it is already uninstalled on my computer. I do not understand how Looking Glass came up with that cope, honestly. I strongly disagree with Underworld Ascendant being a real video game to begin with. It's a money laundering scheme, very obvious to me, and I will explain why in a second. And I strongly disagree that the game is quote-unquote now in a state where it's actually acceptable and presentable, end quote. No, absolutely, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Why do I say it's essentially a money laundering operation? Very easy, because The game looks and plays like something that could have realistically been made by 2 or 3 people over the course of 2 years. The game was made in Unity. It is actually very simplistic, and it looks like absolute shit. It looks embarrassing, in fact. It's embarrassing how the game looks. It's terribly animated. There are no real enemies. You know, you cannot fucking headshot them. You don't have stealth. You don't get stealth kills. No nothing. You know, in fact, if anything, it basically just plays like maybe Morrowind or Oblivion, but with the ability to pick up wooden objects and set them on fire and hold them against other wooden objects, doors, for example, very realistically, which then catch on fire, which, yeah, like that's exactly how fire propagation works in real life. Absolutely. You hold a torch to the door for... I encourage you to do that for multiple minutes, in fact, non-stop, and see if something catches on fire. See if the door will actually be burning after a few minutes of doing that. Yeah, so you have that mechanic. Whoop-de-doo. You know, that does not make an immersive sim. Other than that, you have the magic system that's supposed to be do what? I am yet to find anything interesting that magic can actually do. And even if it does, you know, what I really like about immersive sims is interesting level design, you know, verticality, vents, and stuff like that, you know, and you can do vents in a dungeon also, by the way. There's nothing. It's just, you know, hallway maze, and in hallway mazes, occasionally there are like open areas. And what can you do? Well, you can either try to sneak past enemies, or you can approach them and do basically like Morrowind combat with them. Maybe you can shoot them instead, or use magic on them instead. It's like, wow, so many options. Again, it's just like with BioShock, you know. Just because I get to choose between doing this at an enemy or shooting them, that does not make it an immersive experience. That does not make it a player-authored experience, because you do the same thing with just a different tool, you know. The actual immersion the actual player authoring comes from the fact that you can do vastly different things, not just that you have different tools to do the same thing. It's like, you know, Doom Eternal. You can kill enemies in vastly different ways. You can shoot their weak spots, and then you can you know, glory kill them, or you can just shoot their weak spots and then kill them, or you can just kill them without shooting their weak spots, you know. Oh, cool, so many options, you know. And then it also splits. When you glory kill them, you can either, you know, you can do glory kill from behind, you can do it from above, you know, you can do it up straight. Okay, cool. And when you kill them, by the way, also, you know, there are so many options, because you can prioritize headshotting, you can prioritize just like, you know, just aim at the torso. None of those things make different experiences, okay? It's all like slightly different flavors of literally the same thing, and all the weapons that you can use in order to achieve that thing that you're doing is the same thing. None of that is stealth. None of that is, you know, maybe avoiding combat altogether. Like, no, it's all the same thing. So just because you have a couple of tools that are different tools, but they do the same thing anyway, it's not player-authored experience. Okay? So, yeah, in my first couple of hours in Underworld Ascendant, I have not discovered anything that could have been categorized as player authoring. Level design would not really allow for that. Gameplay tools would not really allow for that either. The game looks pathetic, honestly. The game ran all right for me. Okay. Ooh, that was a big bird. The game ran all right for me, but I should say that the game also, if you put it in the ultra-wide mode, the game literally just fills out the screen. It just zooms in right? It just crops the widescreen like output and stretches it across the ultra widescreen. Along with the UI, along with the everything. It's like you take the screenshot of like a normal Underworld Ascendant, you crop it so that it becomes ultra wide, right? And then you paste it. Like UI gets cropped, you know, your vertical field of view is now all fucking way fucked. And that's it. That's how the other side, or Other Side Entertainment, or the Other Side, whatever, that's how they decided. That's how they decided ultra-wide support should work. Dude, my game, CLOUDOME, fucking the prototype of that game, go on Steam, it's like $3, CLOUDOME prototype. You can go into ultra-wide, like, properly. They couldn't even figure out how to do fucking ultra-wide properly. It is so pathetic. And also, yeah, I'll be honest, I do not understand why. Well, actually, no, I don't have to apologize for this opinion in any way. I do not understand why my boy Looking Glass said absolutely nothing about movement being still borderline unplayable in update 4. No. And here's what it makes it, what makes this situation triple pathetic. I am 100% sure that just with the level of incompetence, the developer just used the default rigid body first-person player controller from the standard Unity assets. And I do not understand how they couldn't figure it out, because that controller has the property of slope offset, either slope offset or step offset. I'm not using rigid body in my controller, so for very good reasons, by the way, but they wanted to make physics-based movement, so, well, that's what you get. Yeah, and basically, that setting, you have it so that when your character encounters a pebble, just like in real life, your controller can, you know, your character can step over that pebble. Or in case of your rigid body player controller, it can glide over the pebble. Without either doing this, without bouncing up and down, you know, or without literally coming to a stop from encountering it. Yep. There is a setting to ignore like small variations in the like typography, so that kind of like in real life, just because the floor is not perfectly smooth, it does not mean that, you know, I go like this when I walk it, because I don't fucking glide, you know, on one spot. Like like in one raycast spot. You don't just glide over the surface of of the ground, and there's a certain degree of normalization that needs to be applied to the process in order for it to actually work. At least when you have non-perfectly flat surfaces on which you move. And for some reason they couldn't figure out how to do it, because when you move around in Underworld Ascendant, like every fucking second you get micro stuck on something. The movement is very jittery and very, very stuttery. I do not understand how they could not figure out this problem, especially like by update 4. Yes, I know, Mooch. Yes, I know. It's a bunny rabbit. It's a rabbit bunny. So like you guys legitimately think, I wonder what kind of other problems they were working on, if that's like the final thing, right? Like update 4 was the final thing they did. Update 4 was basically their way of saying, okay guys, we're done. Like this is it. We cannot do anymore. We no longer have any resources. We no longer have any time to do anything with Underworld Ascendant. Like that's it. That's the end. And I wonder what other problems, guys, you guys were working on you couldn't fix such an elementary movement problem. I'm almost curious. I don't believe there was anything actually just to justify that. I think they were just that incompetent that they couldn't fix such a basic program because of just how clueless they were. And the other reason that, well, the main reason why I believe they were entirely clueless was, like I explained, that was a really long session. Just close the gate, right? The game absolutely does not, like, the way the game looks, just the degree of everything in the game, it could have been done by just a few people. I have no idea why you needed a company for that. It's just, you know, the boomer logic. Hey, we're gonna raise $1 million, right? We're gonna open and we will get an office, we'll get an HR department, we'll get like 3 gym memberships and open buffet 24/7. You know, we'll get like 20 people and giant bonuses for the senior staff. And then we'll look like a real company. We're going to go to a big publisher and we'll get big money from them to make big games. And that's what they spend all their monies on, probably. And then realize that, oh, fuck, that's not how video games are made, actually, these days. If you're using Unity, you don't need giant teams. And also, you don't need HR departments and gym memberships, you know, and like, you know, like all-inclusive, you know, cocaine bars to make modern video games. No, especially if you're using Unity. Like, you didn't even have the balls to use Unreal Engine. What the hell is wrong with you? You make such a giant point to have this physics-based... You want to go there again? Well, I'm still rambling, so yeah, we can go again if you want. You go out of your way to make movement physics-based, rigid body-based, when it's actually a really big mistake to do that in Unity. Like, guys, Dark Messiah of Might and Magic was, what year? 2003, 2004, tops? If not even earlier. And they had full body immersion, full body animations, whether you're climbing the rope or whether you are like climbing something, you know, mounting over something, vaulting over something, mounting something, vaulting over something. You know, incompetent as they are, Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red for Cyberpunk 2077, one thing that actually worked in their game when Cyberpunk came out was the vaulting system or the mounting system or the climbing system, whatever. It's like everything that's about kind of like half your size, I would say maybe even like 2/3 your height. Your character, if you just push into that edge, will just automatically climb. I mean, it was done earlier, of course, with games like Might and Magic, Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, and Mirror's Edge. But in those games, I'm pretty sure all of those climbable points were done manually. Maybe in Dying Light, it was a game-wide system where the player character was basically just taught to automatically climb things, no matter what they are, as long as they support, you know, as long as it's like something that the system recognizes as climbable. And also in Cyberpunk, like I do not believe that any of those climbing points were actually assigned manually. I'm pretty sure it's a system-wide solution. It's just that your player character can just do it. You know, anything that has a hitbox, right, can be climbed as long as the hitbox, the edge of the surface, you know, is at the point where my controller tells me, yep, I can absolutely climb it. Then it can be climbed. And you go out of your way, right, to have this rigid body thing, and you cannot even like make proper climbing mechanics. You cannot have proper, you know, like animations of the body. You have hands. You have hands that just float in midair. You look down, there's nothing. You look down, there's nothing. But there's your hand. You can look fucking well. I cannot do it. You understand, right? Like, it's so old school. And you guys supposed to be like modern day Looking Glass, right? And you couldn't even do that. Like, you have Arcane, who are supposed to be LARPers, right? Fucking LARPers, fucking Arcane, think they know anything about making immersive sims. We're gonna show them. We're gonna show them with Ultima Underworld 3. We're gonna make the actual Underworld 3. Arcane thinks they can make all, like, Arx Fatalis, you know, like, they think that's Ultima Underworld 3? We're gonna make our own with blackjack and hookers, and that's gonna be the real one, and everyone will go crazy for it. And that's the best. That's your best attempt, honestly. You essentially the physics of this whole thing, it's like you okay? It's like Half-Life. Essentially, the whole thing just feels like it's like Half-Life fucking Havoc physics. Not really, because it's Unity physics. But the movement is so bad. Climbing the rope. What the hell is happening when you're climbing the rope? The game freaks out so bad when you climb the rope. A rope, any chain, rope, whatever. It's mostly chains, I believe. Like, how could you actually make something and think, yeah, that's how video games are made, you know, by giant studios? Well, again, I understand that they were never a giant studio, but you know, Arcane was never a particularly giant studio ever. First of all, let alone when they were making Dishonored 1 or you know, what's its name? Dark Messiah, you know? Let alone Arx Fatalis. Yeah, so the other side's solution to like a vaulting system is honestly just stupid. It feels terrible. You know, it doesn't feel like climbing. It feels like you are forcing the rigid body of your player controller into a wall. And at one point, the game, you know, the controller decides to basically just start climbing it a little bit. You cannot tell what you can climb, what you cannot climb. Your character gets stuck on everything anyway. And yeah, I am a Unity developer myself. Like, I have literally been playing, or I was rather, playing Underworld Ascendant and thinking to myself, oh my god, how did they not fix that? How did they not figure out how to make that happen? And the only two possibilities is just clueless boomer logic to developing video games. You know, waste all their money on senior staff, and a couple of interns later will figure out how to use Unity. People who were making that game had no idea how to use Unity. They, for some reason, had no ability to look up on the internet how to use Unity. There's no excuse not to know. Like, if you actually have, you know, full time to be like full-time developing something in Unity, there's no excuse not to know how to do anything in it. Because it's Unity. You know, the answers are there. The internet is full of examples of how to do anything you want in Unity. Yeah, it was before the AI thing. CLOUDOME was developed before the AI thing also. I had zero AI help with CLOUDOME. Zero. Everything that is done in CLOUDOME, I either figured out myself At one point, I started figuring things out myself, like pretty much almost always. But if I didn't know how to do something, you can look up exactly, just search the interwebs on exactly what you're trying to do, and there will be solutions to exactly that. You're not using CryEngine. You're not using Unreal, which is a giant pain in the ass to use unless you have a big team. You're using fucking Unity that is made to be operated by just a few people. And, you know, ways of actually doing things are all online. They couldn't figure out how to use the rigid body first-person player controller. It's embarrassing. The game looks like absolute trash. The art style of that game is disgusting. Well, just to repeat myself again, because it's that bad. You know, first-person player controller, rigid body. Yeah, movement, just impossible in general. It's not just the fact that the rigid body doesn't... They couldn't figure out how to make the rigid body player controller to properly glide over the surface, you know, of their game. And they built the whole thing like very rubbly, very, you know, very uneven, always. And not in an impressive way, by the way. The whole thing looks like it was like semi-procedurally generated by some kind of cartoon, you know, like procedural cartoon level design tool. And, well, because of the art style, at least. The art style they chose for it is honestly embarrassing. Again, unless they had literally one person work on the entire game, having an art style like that, for $1 million game, so like a game with actual budget, a game with actual like 3D artists and stuff like that. No, embarrassing. I'm sorry, embarrassing. And not even embarrassing, but probably fraud, honestly, because I do not believe it. It's the boomer logic of let's, you know, waste all of our money on our image so that we can then attract big capital, baby. And then big capital never comes, of course, you know. And you're just stuck with, like, what senior staff is not going to be working in Unity on anything. They probably don't even have Unity installed. They probably don't even test things in Unity editor. They probably just get builds, like test builds, to test things out. They probably have no idea what is happening, because those people are supposed to be seasoned. Those people are supposed to be experienced. And that's what they shipped. How many years was the game in development? I know. Just a little bit of Tucker Carlson there for you. This is the best you could do? Like, no, this is not what anyone even remotely seasoned would do. This is something that a person who's absolutely clueless, probably not even being paid at all, is told, here's Unity, I was told you can figure out, you know, how to use it. I was told it's really easy to use, even if you don't have any prior experience. Here's the list of things I want you to do, go. You know, that's what the game was made by. Like, I don't buy for a second that anyone even remotely seasoned was actually putting things together for that game. At which point, so why do I need like seasoned game designers? Why do I need seasoned game developers, game producers raising, like, why do I need to give them money on Kickstarter so that they can make the next big Ultima Underworld game? If you guys not even gonna do anything yourself, what do you offer? What do you offer? Do you offer anything other than your name and your legacy you're about to burn? Is that all you offer? Well then, no, thank you. Oh, but then we have games like CLOUDOME, of course, who are by someone who's completely unproven, completely unrecognized. How can we give money to someone like that? No, that's probably a fraud, you know. What he only needs like $10,000 to finish his game. Nah, it's probably scam, probably fake. There's no way it's gonna be a real video game. Even if small scale, no, physically impossible. Oh, hey, other side wants $2 million to make Ultima Underworld 4. Yep, I can believe in that. I can believe in that. Absolutely, let's give them that. I am sure they're gonna put that money to really good use. Yeah, they ended up shitting out something that doesn't even work to begin with. But even if it did, even if Underworld Ascendant did work, it would have been a game that could absolutely been made by 2 to 3 people working in Unity full-time for about 2 years. I promise you that. And if you don't believe me, well, that's a you problem. I am telling you that as a Unity developer. Professional, unprofessional, recognized, unrecognized, I've spent a shit ton of time in Unity, trust me. $1 million could have made at least 5, if not 10, Underworld Ascendants. It's embarrassing. And I 100% disagree with my boy Looking Glass. He probably wouldn't appreciate me calling him my boy. Or maybe he wouldn't care, I don't know. I don't know what his reaction would be reaction to me basically calling him out on coping, i.e. like just complete self-deception and deception of the audience as well. I believe some healthy coping was probably taking place not only with Looking Glass but with a lot of people, because well, you guys were backers of the game originally, right? So you were looking for every possible reason to, well, convince yourself and the world, I suppose, that it's been a worthwhile wait. It's been a worthwhile investment, and the wait was worth it. But I disagree with that, guys. I disagree. No, it's embarrassing. It's a borderline a scam. Wouldn't it be the first time someone with claims of being a legend of video game development, shitting out what's quite literally just a scam? Wouldn't be the first time. Yeah, there is no excuse, and I struggle to find anything even remotely positive about that game. No, update 4 is not, this is an okay game now, guys. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. It's very, very sussy. In specific ways, that game is unfinished. It's very, very sussy. Because regardless of, oh guys, we totally need to exist for one more day because our company is so big and so professional. It probably takes like $10,000 to just run our company a day. Well, we don't have even that anymore. So we're gonna left the game completely unfinished. So you couldn't, like, after the game, after you closed your company, or after the, like, what? We no longer have money to fix, to keep updating Underworld Ascendant. We'll keep existing to see if maybe we can raise money for our other projects. Are you for fucking real? So no one in your senior staff who doesn't get, sent home or laid off between big projects, no one, okay, who isn't paid specifically to do it, big money, in your company. So your CEO could not open Unity, Google for 10 minutes on how to properly set up rigid body first-person player controller in Unity, the default asset, and just fix one slider in your game and push out the update to Steam. No, we ran out of money. We ran out of budget for Underworld Ascendant. We can no longer keep updating it. We can no longer keep doing anything with it. Well, your company is still there. Dude, even if my company fucking closed and my game had like one big issue that was really easy to fix, guess what? I, as a former CEO of my no longer existing company, would have fucking fixed it for free. They couldn't bother with that. What does that tell you? Completely clueless and or a scam in the first place. And even if it was a scam, wouldn't you want to maybe save your face at least a little bit? Nope. Nope. Just full, Indian approach to the problem. Just disappear entirely. Just burn everything. They didn't even raise that much money. I don't understand. No, it's just a combination of utter cluelessness and greed. And cluelessness in how like modern video game development is run as a business also. Not just development itself, but the business side of video game development also completely clueless. Because if you're gonna make a game like Underworld Ascendant and you have $1 million, you can make that easy. Easy. Nope, couldn't do it. Spend all their money on cocaine and hookers. Yeah, because that's boomer logic of, doing business. Everything on brand, everything goes into brand, and the rest of the time we are looking to attract more money now that we have, actual brand. Warhorse did something similar, but you know what? They shit out a pretty functioning game in the end. And by the way, Kingdom Come Deliverance also has one giant problem Warhorse couldn't bother to fix still. Even with all the money they had, there's one problem. One giant problem. One giant bug. That the game has, and they never bothered fixing it. It's the ending cutscene. The ending cutscene of Kingdom Come Deliverance has subtitles from a completely different video. The subtitles are wrong for the final video. Well, it's not an English studio, so I assume in other languages subtitles are correct, but for English they're incorrect. At least for English they're incorrect. Nope. Couldn't bother. Second game came out somewhat recently, right? You're probably aware of that, guys. Nope, still could not bother fix that one game. Why? Because the budget is closed for that game. That game is no longer in development. We put the tick, right, next to the game, saying, okay, this game ran out of budget for development. We have budget for other projects, but for this project, we no longer have the budget. So, therefore, not a single small bug, no matter how easy it is to address, can be fixed. Also, you think any of the senior staff at other side, you think they actually know how to deploy things on Steam? You think any of them have any idea how to deploy things on Steam? Like, they wouldn't even figure that out. That's how you make video games these days, guys. You have connections, you don't have to know anything about anything. Business, development, whatever. So yeah, not just a shame, absolutely no. Every single time, which was at least a few times, Looking Glass in his videos said something about him feeling for other side, like other side seemingly, getting the quote-unquote short end of the stick. No, for what they shipped, there's no excuse. First of all, it's entirely not what it was supposed to be. It was entirely not what was kind of like promised. And the way they actually realized things and how they made them look, it's no. It's not a game. It's not a game that justifies the money that they supposedly had. It's not the kind of game that justifies having an official video game developer company to begin with. And there's no excuse for the state in which the game was left. And I already explained exactly what I mean by it. I do not mean that, Like, the game is way too raw, the game is way too simplistic, you know, it needs to be much, much more than what they shipped. No, it's just that the game is very obviously very core systems of the game, like movement, for example, are not done properly. They are not finished. It's not that the content is not finished, that the core systems, the alpha, the game is still in alpha. It's not that the content is not there yet. We're not in the beta state. We're in the alpha state. Basic, fundamental systems are still not finished. And that's how they shipped it. They never closed alpha. And they went into beta. They never closed that. And they shipped it. So what the hell do we even have? There's no excuse for those alpha things to never be addressed. No. I don't give a crap if you ran out of money. I don't give a crap if your business, if you are a business, if your company is closed. You're telling me you are running a video game development company. There's a giant glitch in the UI that was accidentally shipped with the last patch. All you need to do is open the Unity editor, unclick one object, just disable one object. Something got enabled, or something was not disabled. That's from like the debug menu was not disabled. The game was shipped with the debug interface, just constantly on screen. It was not unclicked. It was not disabled. The object for the debug interface was not disabled. You cannot fucked. You cannot be fucked. You cannot open Unity. You don't have the expertise. You are not the specialized personnel who does things like that. You don't have any money to hire someone to do that for you. So you're not going to do it yourself. And also, like, how does Steam deployment even work? I don't even know, guys. This is all so confusing. We ran out of money, don't you know? Our company is closed. Nothing can be done to fix this problem. Nothing can be done to... Nope. No excuse. If that's your excuse, well, you're a hack then. You're a hack, and your whole company is a scam, and your project, you know, is should be judged accordingly. Yeah. So yeah. Sorry. Sorry, but it's just not a real game. Or whatever it is, it was most definitely not made by real developers in any sense of the word. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry for taking away your opinion. I'm sorry for taking away your enjoyment. But no, I strongly disagree. And I think I just explained myself in all possible colors. I strongly disagree that there's anything redeeming about the game or how the developer approached it or anything. Yeah. It's like the feeling I come away with from this situation is probably the same feeling that, you know, all the people who cope about the game actually being pretty okay come away with. I think it's just disappointment and kind of sadness, right? So we're definitely on the same page about that. Don't get me wrong. You know, I absolutely empathize. Believe it or not, I do have the capacity for it. Many people on the internet assume that for some reason only women have it. It's like their core strength or something. I'm not sure if that's their ability in the first place. I think you need to be very exceptional to have actual empathy. Most people don't even understand what it means. They think empathy, sympathy, you know, it's just interchangeable thing, meaning I'm a good person. Yeah, guys, whatever. No, but truly, you know, if you know the actual word I'm talking about, if you know what I'm referring to, I absolutely do empathize with you. It doesn't mean I look at you as a kid and feel kind of, oh, my body feels sad. It doesn't mean anything like that. It doesn't mean that I'm about to sit on the couch with you and cry together, you know. So, just kind of trying to prep you for the next step. That I truly do empathize with what you're feeling. Absolutely. But I do not sympathize with your cope, essentially. I'm pretty sure we're on the same page when it just, like, in regards to just being sad and disappointed. But I'm absolutely not on the same page with the whole, oh no, but it's pretty okay though, dude. It's pretty okay though. It's pretty alright. It's not that bad. Like, no. No. No, there are telltale signs about this whole thing that tell me much more than it's just like some company finished a game that was not, well, basically released the game and then had to abandon it. But the game is technically finished, and if you play it, you know, the game is technically playable, so if you actually do, you can kind of see what they were trying to do. You can kind of appreciate some of their vision and yeah. No. No, there are signs of the whole thing being a scam in the first place and a very badly run business, completely out of touch with the times we're currently occupying. And no, the whole project is just embarrassingly incompetent and or a scam in the first place. Really love Looking Glass videos though. No ill will, but I strongly disagree with kind of like his final analysis, his final analysis of this situation. Yeah.